Alright guys, and here we go. So there has been a recent patch for Wreckfest 2. And of course I always enjoy streaming this game, so I'm gonna be streaming this one as well. And we have I think among a whole bunch of changes, we have 2 new cars, a new track, and one of those 2 new cars is actually apparently a Fiat 600, a classic one. And you know, we just happen to have a painting of the classic Fiat 500 right here in the background, so we'll be driving in this stream basically that. And yeah, it is just a lovely car, but the handling for it is quite wild, and you'll see it's kind of hard to handle around corners, and that I assume is a part of the fun, trying to survive with that car in a banger racing. So we do have a painting of basically that. It's very close. Basically the 600 is just like a tad longer, at least the variation we have here. Both are tiny cute little cars. As always, gotta make sure you can see the comments, and we'll get right into it. And before I begin trying to survive with pretty much everyone else, I do want just like a kitten race. You know, like everyone is the Fiat 600, and they are called Popper here. So I do just wanna see how that looks like, because it actually is kind of a challenge to survive in that little thing with everyone else. You know, there's like a bloody trailer home going around. You have Mustangs, you have like Chevys and stuff. It is Wreckfest 2, a racing game. So here's our kitten racing, basically. Everyone is that tiny, adorable little things. So basically the 500 is like a bit shorter, but not by a whole lot, So there are some changes to the handling. There are some updates to the damage. The updates to the damage aren't huge, aren't really quite. Yeah, so the thing about this one, you really want to try to avoid damage as much as you can with this car. And corners, take corners slowly, guys. It is so easy to lose control of this thing. So basically the handling does feel kind of different in this game compared to the first one. Both feel pretty good, and okay, yeah. I actually have resets on off, so anyone who gets turned over is basically remains turned over. There is some more detail to the component damage, not so much to the visual side. The deformation still feels very much like Wreckfest 1. But there is more detail in component damage, and actually in a recent update, I think it was in content update 2, they actually made the realistic setting feel more hardcore, so it actually is now more unforgiving than it was in Wreckfest 1. And when I made the initial analysis on the initial early access version, like I was playing it earlier today for the thumbnail, and just a few crashes wrecked up my Leo 600 quite a lot. So you know, like the deformation still isn't on the level of BeamNG, but we do have some nice updates here. And particularly in the sense that the realistic config is now closer to it being realistic. It still isn't quite realistic. It still is more forgiving than a properly realistic config should be. But nonetheless, I do very much enjoy it. I'm trying to read your comments as I'm trying to race. What happened to Carmageddon? Yeah, so I reviewed one game, I think either in the first or the second year of the channel. Then I think there was kind of like a maybe a remaster, like some mild enhancement of, I think, basically the same game, but Yeah, what happened to Carmageddon? Huh, yeah. I actually have no idea. Right, back to your comments. We're trying to stay on track. I think the max damage one was kind of like a remaster, like a mild enhancement of I think a previous title, as far as I recall. But yeah, like, that's a damn shame. Obviously, very different from this, very not grounded by any means, but still a pretty damn fun game, so kind of unfortunate. Actually, really unfortunate. I do remember it was just fun. And as was mentioned here, it could be even more fun with modern capabilities. Once again, wouldn't be a realistic experience in any way, shape or form, but would be a pretty damn fun one. And so far, managed to keep my Fiat 600 to be relatively unharmed. And yeah, you really wanna approach corners here very softly, because it's very easy to lose control. As you've seen on the guy ahead, very easy to lose control. And this pile up is just beautiful. And okay, so I already have suspension damage. But it's kind of like mild compared to what could have been if I crashed there full force. Even though I have the engine in the back. Driving without tires still kind of sucks, which is an option. We actually have remarkably detailed tire damage. That's kind of... it is, truly. You can have the tires flatten, you can have the tires... You can have like the tire itself come off, without the wheel, and you can have the wheel come off as well. And basically now, as I mentioned, there is more detail in component damage, so basically when you like wreck your engine, if you have like major engine damage, you kind of like you bleed HP and it kind of drains. So when I was filming for the thumbnail, I was doing like a 20 lap race, and on lap about 16 or 17, basically the car just died. Not of any immediate crash, but from just consequences of blowing the engine on previous crashes. And we already have some totaled cars. And you'll see like it's gonna be... wow, yeah, yep. Really like perhaps a key concept here is... damn it. Avoid damage. Avoid damage. With that tiny, adorable little thing. Ah man, it's like... mass kitten murder. Those cute things just... Permanent UT, what UT stands for? Because what comes to mind to me is Unreal Tournament. Gotta say, I absolutely loved UT 2004. I remember like a pretty long while back there was actually some game where one of the features was that tires actually... I think it was like a motorcycle game and like a motocross game, and one of the features was that tires actually deform the terrain over the races. So that's been pretty cool. And by the way, actually, I absolutely love the fact that permanent cars remain there and they remain an obstacle, and the obstacle is ever increasing, eliminating my opponents. I have to at least keep my 5th place. Alright, that will do, that will do, that will do. So now guys comes the big part, so I think I'll have to restart it. Basically, I'll make a 20 lap race on the new map. And we'll have cars from all classes, so car damage is realistic. I think novice is like the middle difficulty, I think, I'm not sure. Car, reset, off, and it's actually seriously fun, like I highly recommend. Either here or in Wreckfest 1. Is trying to survive in a car like that with every car class. They're being available for like 20. Or hey, if you're like crazy enough, 30 laps. Because why the hell not? Yeah, I think it was an older MXVS ATV game. I'm not sure if it's still a feature in there. I did play one of the new ones recently. Don't recall it being a huge feature there. Like a permanent deformation of the terrain by the tires. But guys, so the key to at least attempting to survive that is once again avoid damage. The Fiat 600 is hugely vulnerable compared to the Mustangs and mobile homes like that. And I already have a flat tire. As you can see, it wasn't a great start by any means. I'll still try to pull it through for as long as I can. And if you happen to be involved in a big crash, yeah, like, that's basically game over. And as I mentioned, we'll probably see it in this stream, so if your engine gets banged up enough, it actually... the health points here in the lower left, yeah, my camera doesn't block that. You actually see it kind of like bleed over time without any additional crashes. By the way, if you have seen the message, we had a tire detached, so basically the wheel still on, but the tire has like flown away, and could be any of the ones we have here. Wow, what the hell happened to bot 9? Oh man, he got frightened. He got absolutely frightened. What the hell? He's a pancake now. And then I don't really, not terribly bothered about trying to be in a high position, because if I want to survive more than 10 laps in a race like this, I have to avoid damage at any cost. So even if I'm like second last, I'll still have a pretty good chance to get to at least a decent spot if I just survive with cars turning over, no resets. And I, by the way, highly recommend the no reset option. It really makes it high stakes, more fun. More cars go out of commission early, so that's kind of cool. And basically the strategy on the Fiat 600 is let everyone else crash. Yeah, it is fun like driving on something a bit larger. Even a Mustang is notably larger than this, but there's something about being as vulnerable as this tiny little thing in a race like this that I find to be really, really fun. Yeah, I'll be checking out the trail out update as well, yeah. Absolutely, love the game. Gotta say, the motorcycle DLC was also quite great. Really had a good time in it. Yeah, so for anyone perhaps who misses the old flat outs, I will say trail out, which is of course very directly influenced by flat out, is actually, I would say, a very fine option. Kind of jankier, I believe that perhaps Bugbear would probably make it be smoother, but what the hell, it's still seriously good. And I would say scratches that itch, and even has some gore in it. If you, at least in the motorcycle DLC, you can chop body parts off. And that is absolutely awesome. You know, I should probably just get at some point Road Redemption just to stream. Not like necessarily make videos, but just to stream it. Oh no, yeah, shit. See, like, obstacles are very much a thing here. And you can't always go around them very easily. I gotta say, personally, I'm more than content with Bugbear doing things like this, kind of like a more grounded thing. Less crazy, but yeah, like I also at the time I hugely enjoyed Flat Out, particularly till I played 2 for I don't know how many hours. It was before I had Steam. But Flat Out 2, so good, so good. And you know, we had a little road barricade kind of cleared up, so that's lovely. But yeah, so the engine damage is not terribly bad. I'm slowly moving up from other people crashing, so that's always lovely. If I end in the top 5, it's gonna be very, very nice. And by the way, for those who don't follow the Instagram, I actually put up a whole bunch of pics. I was at a drifting event here in Israel. There were actually two. There was one in Holon in July, and there was one in Carmel about a week and a half ago. And that was so cool. Like, very exceptional production, like very high level of production. The drivers are seriously good, and yeah, it was quite a show. We had a chance of being there with the art stand. Took a whole bunch of references. We already have some new paintings of drifting cars. And there are some more coming too, and yeah, like, so basically what I'm saying is, being at a real event, you know, it wasn't, so the drift event wasn't about crashes, of course, as you can imagine, but it was so cool being at a real moto event. Especially one that was produced that well. And we're gonna be going to the drag racing one also in October. And I will say occasionally they do crash even in the drifts events. So one of the competitions is actually have like one go first, and the other one has to chase him. They kind of have like to drift as they chase and escape. And of course they have to be very close and not crash. And usually it is hugely impressive how close they can get. Like, really. I wouldn't be comfortable passing on that distance, like I'm talking about inches away. I wouldn't be comfortable passing that distance on my car just like at a very slow speed, and those guys are drifting on decently high speed. They're seriously close, and for the most part they are not crashing, though in their practice runs I have seen two crash. Kind of like a medium crash, so one basically had the front bumper get entirely come out of its place. The other one I think was just had a minor dent. But yeah, you see those things too. And then if I can survive, that's quite a question. I can be even in the bloody top 3, what the fuck. Alright, so as you can see, we already have like already have engine damage. We had the pistons broken things, so I believe that I should begin bleeding health points either now or very, very soon. And I'm not entirely sure if I'll be able to survive to lap 20. Alright, so let's see your comments. Oh, I heard of NASCAR, and definitely heard of it, and of course we can't forget the I believe it was NASCAR initial scene in Final Destination 3. That was quite glorious. Yeah, so I have seen the gore update about Dying Light the Beast, and my impression is, as far as I can see, is we're basically gonna be having, mechanic-wise, it's basically gonna be the same, but there's gonna be a whole lot more variations mapped on the characters, which, yeah, I think should deliver some fun results. That is quite a pile up. That is just something, you know, if I was filming for a video, this would be the end screen basically. Oh, that's amazing. That is absolutely amazing, and hello Ghoul. So either way, I will be covering Dying Light the Beast on release. For sure. I don't know if a review, but for the very least you have a showcase. I'm basically gonna be more selective about my reviews. I think perhaps to focus more on games where I can provide more feedback. And if it's basically just gonna be a rehash of mainly Dying Light 2, basically have most of the feedback there. Yeah, the full release of Half Sword. Oh yeah, yep. Gotta say, I haven't been, if any Half Sword dev is watching, I haven't been provided with any secret previews in a while, guys. I do miss those. Anytime you have my contact details. Yeah, it should be sweet. And by the way, as you can see, we have even this little thing spitting fire from the exhaust. Kind of adorable. So I happened to snap, so one of the guys in the drift event, his name is Wasim. He has a BMW E92. So he's got like the perhaps most wild exhaust in Israel, I think. That thing was spitting fire like nothing else. Like, other guys were also spitting fire, of course. Everyone's in a highly upgraded race car meant for drifts, but that guy's exhaust was something else, and I actually managed to snap a very good reference, and that painting is coming up very soon. Just a wildly spitting fire BMW E92. Quite a beast. And who I actually want to grab a reference of in the next drift event. So there was a guy on a Monster Miata. So basically, I believe it is it's pretty certainly an ND. Just highly upgraded. No idea what's the engine or the specs, but it's something absolutely wild, and it's a beautiful thing. I have a bunch of shots from day shots, but I actually want to get him during the night shots, during the night races for a painting. That Miata is just an absolute beast. And it appears that thankfully my engine isn't really banged up enough to begin bleeding out severely. But yeah, I think I'll do 15 lap racing. It's kind of like been mostly basically everyone else is either totaled or crashed, and I've just been talking to you guys for I don't know how long. So yeah, I think probably 15 laps probably gonna be the sweet spot to have enough crash to make perhaps that be more eventful, but I have to finish this race because I actually wasn't able to. When I was filming for the thumbnail, I literally just came to lap number 16 or 17 and basically the car just gave out on me. Because got into a few pretty bad crashes and pay for it. With a poor little Fiat 600. But yeah, I will say lovely track, so I think I'll grab perhaps something else for the next one, maybe one of those figures of 8. And just before I cross the finish line, how badly am I mangled? Yeah, like, the front is kind of gone, guys, the front is kind of gone. Do I have a figure of 8 here? No, no figure of 8. Do I have perhaps a figure of 8? No. Alright, figure of 8. Figure of 8. It's gonna be shorter, so perhaps, yeah, like, let's go for 15 laps. Where's the Mustang? Rocket is how they call it, so let's go to a more survivable car. Where I can be a little bit more stupid. Hey, cheers, man. Thanks for coming around. Was able to survive that race on first attempt. Which earlier today, like, legitimately I wasn't able to. So that felt pretty good. Once again, I'll try to avoid the big crashes initially. And try to, like, force perhaps single opponents to crash. And have others crash into them, perhaps. So that is a very bad position. You don't want to be in a game like this, or pretty much ever to be T-boned like that. Ah, look at that, so the bumper here has 2 parts. Okay, that's actually pretty cool. Don't remember seeing that, but we actually have 2 parts for the bumper. I don't remember it being the case when I was reviewing it. So basically now the fun begins. Now we have actually some cars way in the back. So we have like some potential for brutal crashes. I was just about to celebrate, avoiding T-bones. So yeah, like, those things happen, man. Those things happen. And actually, like, there was a day going around on Facebook. Also drifting event, no idea where, but we kind of had like a, what was it, a BMW come on top of, who was it? Think of a Corvette, perhaps. But it was kind of like from the side, so basically you had the BMW be on top of the engine of the of the Corvette. There were some memes going about that. Some kind of inappropriate ones. Look at that pile up, so those things happen too. Alright, so basically with everyone crashed here, it's kind of uneventful, so what if? I'll up the difficulty to expert. Let's see if that makes... Let's see how much of a difference this figure of 8 with expert difficulty makes. Let's see. And perhaps if I feel daring, I'll try to do that stunt again on with the Fiat 500, 600, with the expert difficulty. So as always, I try to avoid the initial mess, just to avoid being in the middle of a big crash and having 10 cars ram into me, ideally. And then I can perhaps try to get some cars to lose control and get perhaps flipped over, if I'll be lucky. But yeah, so far as everyone's being pretty careful. Okay, yeah, we have some big crashes. And so it begins. Yep. Let's see how long I can keep this Mustang. Be relatively unharmed, so I think I've lost... I do have a dangling bumper. How long can I keep it relatively unharmed? Yep, so... yeah. Still, I would say relatively unharmed, not too badly mangled up. Yeah, so now the big fun begins. And still, despite the T-bone, I'm kind of surviving decently okay-ish. By the way, great recover by the bot. Gotta say, he was hit pretty badly and just goes back to it like nothing happened. And we have a first total obstacle on the track. Okay, survive that. Yes. So that is what I was intending to do. Whew, okay, so made it. Yeah, for some things you have to pay a price, and that is okay. But so far, not too bad, not too bad. And now it kind of is. Now I get hammered quite badly. Now I get hammered quite badly. But you know, as you can see, it could be worse, it could be much worse. Man, poor Mustang, poor Mustang. And one thing I'll say about the Drifts event, it was basically BMW heaven. Like the vast majority of cars there were BMWs. Classic ones too, obviously with upgraded engines, so basically I recall the announcer mentioned that many cars have a Supra engine actually. Oh no. And I think it is a race over for me. Yeah, it seems like it is a race over for me. Yeah. Okay. So basically many were majority there was BMWs, classic ones, new ones. And many had upgraded to a Supra engine. I believe some of the classic ones too. And basically, those who know, Supra engine is made by, at least the current engine for the Supra, is made actually by BMW. I think perhaps the transmission too, I'm not entirely sure, but basically it is a Toyota with a BMW engine. And it is an absolutely lovely thing. I was searching for one for a painting reference for like years, literally. And the one I saw going around here in Haifa is like a white boring one, and yeah, it's kind of a boring color for a car that cool, I would say. And luckily there is a very cool Supra there in the Drifts event. And we already have a painting of a massively cool Supra. Right, so far no major crashes, so far nothing major, no one got too banged up. But now we're getting in the territory. Oh no, oh no, ah. Could be worse. And so far the T-bones are politely being avoided. Look at that. Ah, oof. That statement did not last for very long. Now what happened to my Mustang? Yeah, here was the impact. And here was, yeah, I believe I kind of went face first into someone else there. Huh, that's... I actually gotta check if the game has like a BMW like E30 or something along those lines, because it would like fit into this game very well. The whole kind of older glorious cars getting banged up as brutally as they are here. That was now luck more than anything. Yeah. It's still not in too bad of a shape. Can kind of still keep going. Yeah, they're definitely less goofy on the expert difficulty for sure. For sure. In the previous run I basically had like everyone pile up. So getting some serious kind of engine damage now. Oh no. I still have recover. Can still keep going. But yeah, those figure of 8 races are just fun. Particularly with the risk of T-bones. And everything else. And the new obstacles on the track is just beautiful. I absolutely love this aspect of the game. Can I crash? Can I crash? Aye, so close. Right, so we are almost done. What the hell, I'm first. Okay, so that wasn't really planned, wasn't expecting it. Unless I get T-bone now. Yeah, okay, well, yeah, cool, so actually won this thing. Lovely. And since I am feeling daring, I'll take the expert difficulty. I'll take the Fiat 600, not 500, 600. On the new map. Yeah, class all, difficulty expert, no car is it. Lapse 20. And I'll see if I can survive the bloody thing. We'll see how long the 500 remains pretty. Yes, look at that. Just an adorable little thing, and I'm gonna kinda feel bad about having it be as wrecked as it's gonna be. So, as I was mentioning, the key to surviving this is A. Avoid damage as much as you can, and go easy on the corners, because this car does not corner very well. It's very, very easy to lose control. Very easy. So I'll say even let them get ahead. And... yep. As I mentioned, no resets, so whatever remains stuck there. Hey, no PS, so no return mode in Last of Us 2. Just fantastic. I've played the campaign for a little bit, just for the review. But it really made me appreciate being able to avoid all of the story stuff. And I do it in one deal, yeah, just straight up combat. The brutal, visceral, gory and messy combat. Without all of the walking and dialogues and shit. Just enjoying the gameplay side of it, basically. Hugely appreciate it. And then in games that features a thing like that. Just being able to enjoy the main course without all of the side activities. Kind of really appreciate that perhaps in let's see, there was something I covered that had like a great deal of side activities. Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, 1. Just combat without the side activities. So BeamNG is still the king in terms of car damage. BeamNG is still very much the king. But BeamNG has one major weakness, which I have mentioned in the review I made on OSO. So BeamNG, as I mentioned, has one major weakness, and that is really poor AI for racing. Like for messing around, for crashing, it's quite great, but basically you play any race once and you... There's little point in playing it over and over again, because the AI is gonna be basically behaving in the exact same way, which isn't very fun. Doesn't really give you a great deal of variety. And it is unfortunate because the maps in BeamNG are great. The car damage, of course. No point saying. The king of car damage at the moment. Handling, perfectly good. I have seen some complaints about that. I don't think they're valid in any way. Cars handle great in BeamNG. But the one major weakness is basically chase AI and race AI. But here's the thing, so yeah, you have a games that wanna tell a story, sure, fine, cool, whatever, yeah. But having a mode that gives you the option to just play the combat, just that, nothing else, as an option, you know, is something I personally hugely appreciate. In the case of Last of Us 2, story of course quite notorious, whatever, not gonna get into that here, but as I've said, even in regards to Last of Us 1, if I could avoid the story and just have the combat in a similar manner, with like some modifiers to kind of tweak things around, yeah, that's absolutely awesome. I'd hugely enjoy it. And yeah, like, and I massively enjoyed the time making the review of Last of Us 2. So actually I have to look up what a Chrysler Crossfire is, because I'm familiar with that model. In the meanwhile, have a look at this mangled Fiat 600. What the hell is a Chrysler Crossfire? Huh, pretty cool. Okay, pretty cool. Nice ride. Yeah, not terribly familiar with their models, but yeah, like, they are cool cars. There is one kind of like one of the more newer ones, pretty common here. I think it's kind of called 300 perhaps, if I'm correct. Kind of a newer but cool looking thing. We have a whole bunch of those going around. There is one kind of like shaped, not even sure how to describe it. Once again, not familiar with Chrysler models too much. In the end, those things are pretty hard to control, especially after they take damage, and yep. You know what? I tried, I'll do one more figure of 8. Yeah, on a hard difficulty, it's yep. So figure of 8, I'll take the Mustang once again. I'm gonna go for a bigger car now, but the whole challenge was to try to survive that with a small little Fiat 600. And on a lower difficulty, I was able to. On a hard one, not even close. Once again, I'll try to avoid taking big damage from the get-go. And then, whether I like it or not, I'll have to get in the action. And we already have T-bones, look at that. Basically, you really want to avoid getting in a big crash early on. Later, when pretty much everyone's banged up, you can, but early on, and the race is basically gone for you. And don't get hit by a trailer, basically. Try to make him spin out. Oh. So this poor little thing is crashed into that, and you know, it hurt the Fiat more than it hurt the trailer. And yeah, you can drift in this game, yep, you can. Not terribly great at that, but they use it occasionally on the tight turns. But yeah, you can drift in this game. And by the way, as I was mentioning earlier, I was about a week and a half ago on a drift fest here in Israel. In Carmiel. Oh. Okay, yeah, so that was quite lucky. We had 2 drift fests this summer, one in Holon in July, one in Carmiel, and that was quite an experience. Yeah, so there goes the Mustang. Do have quite a bit of a pile up here. There's a pretty huge one up ahead. Yeah, so what the hell happened here? What the hell happened here? Yeah, that's just that is just absolutely beautiful, guys. And by the way, I've mentioned it in the previous streams, but unlike Wreckfest 1, we don't have a realistic human character deformation, so no deformation here. Oh, I was basically there with the art stand. I don't drift. I was there with the art stand, and in Carmiel I actually had a chance to play some heavy music there as well. So that was pretty awesome. Saw the whole bunch of paintings, a whole bunch. It was really cool. Or prints, to be precise. Took heaps of references. We already have yeah, so we have, let's see, yeah, 30 paintings ready from the drift events. 4th one on the way. And many other cool references, many. Played this track there as well. Anyway, basically, everyone's done. Kind of little point in just going around in circles. So in conclusion, once again, cool update. They keep working on the game. We have some new cars added, and as I mentioned, if you want a survival experience, take the Fiat 600, pit it up against every other class and see how long you can survive, and I'm probably actually gonna be trying to survive more in the expert difficulty. Haven't been able to here, but I'll still try doing that some more because quite a challenge, quite interesting, and yeah, like it's a pretty cool experience. A sequel to a damn solid game, so yeah. I've enjoyed it, hope you guys did as well, and I'll see you next week. Perhaps maybe 6 days in Fallujah. Haven't played it in a while. So yeah, so see you then with something else.